All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 54 of my weekly GEMP game review series. I am your host. I'm sorry, 55. Wow, up to 55 already. Where does the time go? I'm your host, Chris Goglin. Welcome to another episode of our wonderful Star Wars CCG show. Today, we're going to start off with wrapping up Online Play Weekend. It was a big weekend here around the world, trying to encourage as many people as possible to participate in online Star Wars play, whether it was through Holotable or most likely through GEMP. Um, Batmouse went ahead and created a crap ton of online leagues for basically every format you can think of. Most of them didn't get used, but some of them did. Most popular ones were the open no shields, classic no V cards, or just the regular open or Premier through Death Star 2 leagues. But if you preferred one of the other formats, you may have been able to encourage someone to build a deck and at least get a game or two in. The leagues were only a 1 silver to join, so it was nice and cheap for everybody. Just take a quick peek. I like some of these, like Premiere through Dagobah. Did anybody? People signed up, but I don't think anybody played in some of these. So yeah, Premiere only. That might have a bunch of people signed up, but Premiere through Special Addiction. Yeah, Premier through Death Star 2 was probably the more popular one. Had quite a few people playing a number of games in this format. And then, of course, you got some of the classics. And then the Open League, I think, was the most popular. Yeah, yeah, quite a few. Joker King played 17 games. Bastion played 14 games. So quite a few games in these formats all being played. Hope everybody got a chance to get your game in. The leagues were extended through today, so you got about 2 hours left if you wanted to join one of the leagues and get a quick peek of a game in. I'm actually going to take a quick peek in at this classic no V card because we don't often look at the alternate formats, so we might as well take a quick peek and just see what else is going on in some of these other formats here. So you've got Batmouse with a Dark Deal type deck. He's got I'm Sorry. They Must Never Again Leave This City, which got him a free Executor and a Cloud City Occupation going. He had a bunch of sites. Well, he started one. I think you have to start, usually, I think it's this one. You can take 2 interior Cloud City Battlegrounds into hand. So you get these 2 interior sites, and then IAO pulls you the docking bay. So that's a quick way to get the 4 sites out. The objective gets you the sector in the system. You get occupation set up, start doing some damage. And it looks like he tacked on Search and Destroy for even more ground damage potential, as his opponent has currently taken over space with his Watch Your Step deck, but has no ground characters currently and only 4 cards in hand. So kind of a risky move landing the tie to get the extra drain of 1 at the docking bay. But okay, I guess maybe he knows what these 4 cards in his opponent's hands are. Maybe he's got the Gick and he's just trying to force him to put somebody else on the ground. Watch Your Step is certainly a strong light side deck in this format. Um, as without defensive shields, its ability to play lots of cards from its lost pile um, is pretty powerful. It's kind of one of the reasons they made that shield, was just to curb how powerful this deck was and how prominent it was at the top tables in 2001. Did everybody manage to get their online games in this weekend? I know it felt like we had. I think Matt said something. There were like 160 different people who played a game this weekend. I don't know if all of them submitted the game reports and things like that they needed to do for the online prize foils, but just having that many people online playing games and jump all weekend, I think was pretty spectacular. He's going to deploy Gunite. I'm pretty sure the objective makes like half his guys immune to Gunite. Yeah, characters are immune when they're deploying to Bespin locations. That's Cloud City, Jabba's Palace, and Special Edition. So he drops that, and then he's just going to move some stuff around. So yeah, so I guess Batmouse must have known that he had no characters in hand. Managed to hold down last place for the Open League. Well, you were in the Open League, which means you were participating in online play weekend, so even being in last place is always good. But you weren't in last place. The people who there you go, Nutritious, you were 0-2. This guy was 0-3. This guy was 0-4. These guys didn't play at all. So I think you finished a little better than you think you did there. So congrats on that. Oh, but he is going to control tunnel vision, probably looking for a character or two. Dark Deal doesn't look like it ever got set up, and certainly the occupation has already been canceled. He'll play the control tunnel vision to cancel the drain, but he's going to be facing quite a few force drains here. He's got 2 in the cantina, and then 5 pings of 1. Absolutely, Jedi Jer. I make up all kinds of things, and people just assume that I know what I'm talking about. So he deployed a patrol craft with the Palace Raider as a react to his drain of 1. He's going to see if he can. We'll let him revert that because he wanted to cancel the different drain in front of Simalu. Well, it can move as a react, right? May deploy or move as a react. So technically, he could use it to. Can you cancel 2? Can you react twice? Can you cancel 2 things? I don't know how that works. I have to double check that ruling. Because he could deploy it here as a react to cancel that drain, and then when he force drains here, then move as a react. I don't know. I have to check the ruling on that one. Remind me next week to find out what the answer to that question was. Only react once per turn. I kind of felt like that was going to be the thing, but I don't know 100% for certain. Well, he just moved as a react, so he just did exactly what I said. So GEMP let him do it. So whether that's a GEMP bug or not, I guess we'll have to find out. Also lets him get around search and destroy for a turn here because now he has a ground character. We'll have to find out if that's a GEMP bug or not. I'm sure GEMP counted him deploying as a react as 1 and then moving as a react as 1, but whether or not that is correct or not remains to be seen. So, okay, so just taking a quick peek. Obviously, some interesting stuff going on here without the virtual cards, without the defensive shields. Certainly some cards that don't see as much play getting some use, and a nice little nostalgia format. But we won't linger on this game too long here. We'll just pop back to the old lobby, see what else is going on. While we're here, we'll check out our OCS standings for June. 1 week left in the month of June. Just under that now, actually, as we get ready to turn the clock to the 25th on the GEMP server. Ototoy, also known as Eric Hunter, sitting currently 11-0, pretty much guaranteeing himself a qualification spot this month. 2 and 3 currently held by Tom and Silverglen, who are already qualified. So that could possibly create an extra at-large bid, which I'm sure many players, including myself, would be excited about. Sliding down a little bit, bunch of guys here, all, yeah. Slorvik dropped a game. Best he could do would be 32, which puts him into this tie here with Tom. He's also already qualified. Then, yeah, 28. Batmouse is that 6 and 3, so he could get up to 30 and possibly get into this mix and this tie. Turner's still right here at 6 and 2. He could, if he wins out, he could end up at 32, which would be what he would need to do to get above Silverglen. Possibly might just have a better win. His percentage is pretty low, so he'll need to win out. And then you got Pistone right here at 6 and 2. Is that what this is? No, this is 6 and 1. Yeah. So that's a pretty good show in there, and there's a couple other guys still have plenty of games left to play. 5 and 0. Yeah, still got plenty of games left to play. So we won't say congrats yet to Eric. He'll have to wait a little longer. He'll have to finish up this last game, but things look very promising for him to go ahead and qualify. And 11 and 0 is pretty impressive accomplishment. So, but the other thing was online weekend. So there was an online weekend 2019 surprise. What was the surprise? Quick draw. They released not one but 2 spoilers, which were not legal for OCS play, so hopefully nobody used them. What were those spoiler cards? Well, let's go to the old GEMP deck builder, sort by set 11, and bam! Dark Jedi Lightsaber and Jedi Lightsaber were your 2 set 11 new spoilers. Huge! That's huge. Thank you for renewing your subscription for month number 9. Looks like Jedi Jar's quoting from the AR there. So that looks like that is a GEMP bug then that will have to be reported and fixed. So we'll have to get Batmouse's attention, get him to submit the game link for that one, for that deploy as a react and then move as a react situation. But let's talk about our Set 11 spoiler cards. Dark Jedi Lightsaber. This is a legacy card. Deploy on Orison, Grievous, or your warrior of ability greater than 4. It is non-unique, so therefore it cannot be matched for with Saitor, Kalphas, or the Dark Blasterak is the dark side version, which some people did find to be a little confusing. But that can only match up your unique character with their unique matching weapon, so therefore it did not work and pull it. But it is a weapon that can go on Orison, Grievous, or your warrior of ability greater than 4, which there are a few. You know, you never know when you might need a utility lightsaber for somebody. Or it could also work on like Dooku or Sidious or things. I believe Sidious is a warrior. We'll double check that in a second, but let's do that right now real quick. Is Sidious? Yes, Sidious is a warrior. So you could kind of float that as a utility lightsaber and then use it on like Sidious or Dooku or, you know, anybody else that, you know, instead of playing specific matching weapons, just whoever you happen to find first or needs it first would be a good way to pair that up. Target a character, creature for free, hit. Instead of being a forfeit 0, they cannot be used to satisfy attrition. So they keep their forfeit value, so it keeps you from getting the battle damage and the overflow, but they don't soak up any attrition. So therefore, if there's multiple guys at a site, this can help you clear more than one of them, especially getting around cards that restore forfeit, like the First Aid Odin Nestler combo, or anything else like a Tals or a Corporal Beezer or whatever, those cards that restore the character, restore their forfeit. And Lightside got a similar version, which is deploying your character of ability greater than 4 or Padawan. Notice it doesn't say warrior of ability greater than 4, it just says character of ability greater than 4, so this can go on Yoda, because most Yodas are not warriors. We had a virtual Yoda a while back that was a warrior. I don't think any of the current Yodas have a warrior icon. I'll double check that in a second. But the same thing, add 1 to force drain, can't be used to satisfy attrition. Let's double check our Yodas real fast because, yep, none of them current Yodas are warriors. So maybe we'll have a new Yoda in the future that will be a warrior, but these ones currently are not. So that was the online weekend surprise. We spoiled the foils that were also available for competing. This was the hollow image of Snoke, and Lightside was Kit Fisto. And if you submitted your played a game over the weekend and submitted your link and personal information, you will get these foils mailed out to you. Snoke and Kit Fisto, compliments of our European brothers who did all of the printing and renewed his subscription for his 9th month. Darth Huge over there. So Kevin, it sounds like we might actually need you to make me some more of these. Matt said there are over 160 people playing games this weekend, but I don't know how many of them submitted the reports or links yet. They're still going through the email and compiling the list. I think he sent me like 50 sets, so we'll see what the final number comes in at, but you just might want to plan ahead and think that you might need to be printing some more of those in the not too distant future. Just like schedule some time, like a week from now. Keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, very exciting news. Obviously, having that many people playing games of Star Wars all weekend. Big success. I think, what did we have last year? I think I sent like 60 foils out last year, 59 or 60 sets of the foils that were sent out last year. And of course, I did want to give a quick shout out to Corin for his wonderful snacks. We were talking about this, what snacks, because he was going to binge. He played 20 games over the course of the weekend. He's like, I'm just going to be binging games on my computer. I need to load up on snacks. People were giving him all kinds of different suggestions. I threw out the word, let's class it up. Let's get a little charcuterie going. He didn't know what that meant. He Googled it, got very excited by it, and this is what he put together. And then, at my suggestion, he threw the Mountain Dew Code Red into a wine glass to kind of really, class things up and keep it classy. So shout out to Corum. Kendall, looked like you had a good spread going there with your chocolates and your different fruits and meats and cheeses. And awesome job getting 20 games in over the course of, mostly Friday night and Saturday. And very excited to have you back in the community playing again, and glad that you were able to take advantage of online weekend and share your snacks with us. So the other big thing going on coming up right now, just 2 weeks away from the European Championship. This is in Amsterdam. Normally it's in Germany, but with Worlds being in Germany this year, it's moved to its backup location, Amsterdam. There are nearly 30 players signed up to attend this event. I don't see any Americans on the list, but you never know who they might just show up. Looks like these guys are just they'll be in attendance, but they're not playing in it. They're just running it. So they've got 25 active players already. I'm sure they'll get a few more stragglers as they get, you know, the last minutes of the last couple days leading up to it, let people making their last minute travel plans. I was going to say, I felt like looking in the other thread, people were talking about, different rooms and different travel plans and whatnot. So I'm sure they'll add a few more names to this list. If you are in Europe and you're looking for an opportunity to play some high level Star Wars, though, right here, 2 weeks from now, just over 2 weeks, European Championships in Amsterdam. Heck, if you're an American looking for a good vacation time, people say Amsterdam's a pretty good place to go. I have not been there myself, but I've heard some good stories, so I'm sure you have too. But that's coming up in 2 weeks. Your next major North American event we've been talking about for a while, the John Anderson Memorial Tournament, coming up here at the end of August. If you pre-register by July 13th, you get a $5 discount. You also get there's an AI slip, which I believe I mentioned was an EPP Ray alternate image. There's also some other cool stuff going on here. We're up to 11 players signed up for this so far. I mean, I know it's still 2 months away, and people like to drag their feet on actually paying for it. Oh yeah, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going. But actually paying for it, they always wait until the last minute. And then people will sign up on like the 14th, and then they're like, "Can I have the $5 discount? I forgot that it ended last night." It's like you've known about it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's been up posted, so make sure to sign up. If we have extras of the Ray foils, maybe we'll give them out to the people who signed up late in the order in which they signed up. But you don't want to be that guy who doesn't get the cool foil because you forgot about something that you meant to do for 3 or 4 weeks and easily could have done at any point during that time. Dan, you shouldn't have played Arena and Star Wars at the same time. Well, I mean, are you playing like high level Magic, or are you just like throwing cards at each other and just trying to get your quests done and your get a few wins to pick up some free packs? Because if you're trying to play competitively 2 games at the same time, that's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's certainly going to be dividing your attention, and I never recommend that. I never recommend competitively playing 2 things at the same time because it does distract your focus. Even just goofing around on your phone while you're trying to play one sometimes can be a distraction and make you screw up, and you attack the wrong minion, or you cast the wrong spell, or in this particular case with Star Wars, you do something stupid and forget, mistrack something, or just happen to battle your opponent in a battle, something where you're like, oh god, I knew they were going to react. Why did I battle? Because I forgot that they were going to react because I was too busy playing another game. So don't recommend it. Let's see what we got going on here. We got a new OCS game just getting started here. Ralops versus QMC. Angelo's playing. So turn 1 will take 12 minutes and turn 2 will take 15 minutes. And then we'll see what they get to do for the remaining 3 turns of the game before Angelo times out. Well, oh, you made it all the way to Mythic. Congrats on that, Dan. That's a pretty good accomplishment. So I'll stop mocking you. But yes, you definitely shouldn't have been playing competitively 2 things at once then. I'll go back to mocking Angelo and his slow play. We'll take a quick peek. Oh my god. He's on turn 2 and he's only used up like 5 minutes of his timer? What? So, looks like Apollyon pulled the 1-0, matched for Mirax on Booster and Pulsar Skate. Well, pulled Booster and Pulsar Skate with Mirax, which you can download from the ship's text. So it's power 6, immune to less than 5. It's got 5 ability. He went there first while his opponent is kind of setting up here at the docking bay. He's going to use Dasan, and he pulls the Emperor's Shuttle, which is going to be uh, fairly difficult to deal with for a bit. It's going to rely on light side having Home 1 Akbar and a couple Rebel leaderships to limit dark side to 1 Destiny, because pretty much what they're going to try and set up there, of course, is Emperor on the shuttle with like Grand Moff Tarkin to get 3 Battle Destiny. So you're going to have to limit that to 1 in some way, especially with the possibility of ROPS being flipped, because then they're drawing 3 Destiny and then they're adding 3 or 4 to their total, and that's just going to start clearing light side out of space pretty quick. And once light side loses space, QMC kind of really goes downhill, because then you start paying for all these little ground drains. Your celebration retrieval gets canceled, and you really start to have some problems. Wisely, Apollyon, doing some math, pulls the Goldenrod shield, which makes him have to pay 2 for the Emperor, because it's not the Emperor's text, it's the shuttle's text that lets him deploy for free. So Angelo activated 9, 3 for the shuttle, 2 for Palpatine is 5 total spent. Tarkin would be 4. Angelo only had 9 force available, so unless he has a way to battle for free, he wouldn't be able to do exactly what he wanted to. Now he's got to kind of go to plan B, which is Ozzel. Still fairly strong, a little bit less power. Actually, it's the same power. They're both add 2. But he doesn't get, and he only gets 2 Battle Destiny this way instead of 3. Because, it's not Tarkin, it's Ozzel. But this is certainly looking like trouble for Apollyon. He went for the aggressive right to space approach, and it may end up costing him. Now, of course, Angelo does still have quite a few characters in his deck. He does have Domination out, which will let him redraw. There's possibly 1 more site floating around, or another location of some sort. It doesn't look like he pulled Fondor or Coralag yet, so that could be possibly floating. But we'll take a quick peek and see what's going on there. Oh, he didn't even have to pull an admiral or an admiral's order or a commander. He had Dasan and Piet in hand. It's a strong start. Well, a Piet he may have went into a shield, but having Dasan in your hand certainly gives you an additional advantage. Because there's a number of commanders that you could pull that are like 3 deploy, and you could put somebody else if you wanted as an extra passenger on the shuttle, and then pay 1 to battle. I don't imagine many RAL Ops decks use Admiral's orders. Okay, so he does go find, he verifies and remembered that Fondor was in there. He also got this Thrawn guy who he could deploy as well. Put up his power by 1 more. He may just save him for his next ship as well. Whatever else he's got. If it's Vader's shuttle or, a Conquest or Binder or something. He's pulling the firepower shield, I guess, just in case he had a hyper escape. Because this says if opponent moves from a location you occupy, it doesn't require characters moving. So you can do it in space. And he's going to play command with Ozzel to add 1. Normally you save that to limit light side, but he really wants to make sure he clears this ship out. So he's going to need 3 destiny. And he's going to draw a solid pile of 4s. And that's definitely going to clear out the whole ship there. And that's where Darkside is now just going to start the lean. Light side with a solid draw of their own. Of course, the Shadow's completely immune to attrition, so that doesn't really help, but at least to make sure he doesn't have to take any additional overflow or anything, although this covers quite a bit. It would have covered 9, so... But yeah, Apollion's going to be in some trouble here now. He took a very aggressive approach, and unfortunately, Angelo had the type of hand that was prepared for that. Ooh, pardon me. Now we start thinking, what can Apollyon do to get back in this game? And it's going to depend. He obviously has to get himself flipped, which becomes a bit more challenging now because now he's got to find an additional ship to get down to space because he has to occupy the system and control 2 sites in order to flip the objective. Then he can start peeling cards out of his force pile with keeping the Empire out forever, which will let him start setting up some of his combo attack stuff, which is what he's going to need to deal with that shuttle. The question is going to be what other ships does he possibly have? Oh, a misplay by Angelo. Not pulling... Well, I won't necessarily call it a misplay. Actually, let me stop babbling for a second. I thought he was kind of wackling back the ship, so he had a way to try and get this up. But instead, he's using the 3 of force for wackling to pull launch in the assault, and then he'll use launching to go get home 1. So nothing Angelo could do about that. I'm a little surprised he didn't pull the coward shield to limit the retrieval, especially because he's already got secret plans on his one of his starting effects. That it would have made a good amount of sense to pull the coward shield just to make sure he didn't get that ship back. But now he's got the home 1. He can start trying to piece together home 1 Akbar. Imperial Command has already been grabbed, which will slow down Darkside's ability to limit them. I mean, I think Darkside, a lot of Ralops decks, some of them do play Justice as well. But yeah, like I said, it's going to take a home 1 Akbar, possibly with a Hera as an extra pilot, or Poe to get like 3 Battle Destiny. And then the leadership to limit them to only 1 to really just have, not even it's immune to attrition, but you want to have such a huge power overflow that you kind of force your opponent to have to start peeling some stuff. As we saw in our game last week, though, I mean, he peeled, 13 cards to keep the Emperor Shuttle package on the table and still managed to win the game. I mean, it was CCT, not Route Ops, but, he didn't have nearly as many cards on the table. But, sometimes peeling some ships and stuff to keep, or peeling some cards to keep a key ship on the table can be good enough to win you the game. we are going to see Angelo probably back up his shuttle here. He's going to get Vader's shuttle, double check for a few things. I'm sure we'll see him set up and flip this turn, even if it's just something as simple as deploying a guy to the office, and then he can just bounce, move one over to the street. Now he occupies 3, and then move Piet over to the street afterwards and just kind of shift these guys to the opposite side. And depending who he deploys here, probably someone who can draw by themselves. He gets Vader's shuttle. Oh, he's playing the virtual. Not a lot of people, most people, a lot of people I've seen using it are using the non-V Vader shuttle because it has a permanent pilot. And this one really only benefits if Vader's piloting it. It does some things. I guess they prefer the one that has the permanent pilot because it gives you an easier way to like just deploy and block them at like the system or something. He loses quite a mercenary V. It's a good card. Not one we see often played, but it's a pretty solid card. Cancels Ellis, which is always nice because Ellis is a very difficult, kind of a blowout card. We never, it's a good one when you're using it. It can be a good one when you're playing against it. It can be kind of rough. That's Reflections to Chewie, or most importantly, just break cover of an undercover spy. So you don't necessarily always have to find Corran Horn, or they can't, never yell null to get rid of them. You just, here's your spy's cover is broken. So U3PO or Arica or whatever. I feel like we've looked at quite a few Raul Ops games, and like I said, as we already here turned 3, and he's 15 minutes into his timer. Angelo is a slower player, so watching and commenting on his games isn't the most interesting thing. It's interesting to watch the way his mind works because there's definitely a linear thought process there, and watching him come up with all of these different variable scenarios and situations, he's almost always spot on right. Um, but it does take a little while to develop, and yeah, can be a bit a bit tiring sometimes to watch and or play against. So we're gonna pop out of that game for a little bit, just see what else is going on. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot else. These guys are finishing up their games, and only about a half hour left to go on any of these other weekend leagues before those all finish up. We talked about all the other stuff going on in the old Star Wars forums. So let's pop into our game of the week. It is Hunt Down versus Throne Room. Again, not the most exciting matchup, but I went back and looked, and we haven't actually done this matchup. Thanks to Ryan Serson's handy list, I was able to see all these things. And we've looked at Hunt Down versus Hitco a couple of times, which is 90% the same deck, but it does set up and play out a little differently. But we've never, and we've popped into a few games that have been Hunt Down versus Throne Room, but we've never actually done a full game review on one. And Pistone swears that this is a very interesting game, had a lot of back and forth stuff happening in it that he just played over the weekend. And I don't think I've done too many Mike Pistone reviews either. And he's taken on JeffSkilz here, who's another great player. I think he's both these guys. Well, Pistone's in Connecticut. Jeff is up in the Boston area, I believe. So a nice little New England northeaster. Shout out to Chick-fil-A, still not sponsoring me, but still going to keep trying. So let's take a peek and let's get a Hunt Down Throne Room game on the list. So, Dark Side Hunt Down typically likes to activate and try and get Vader to the ground as quickly as possible. Against Throne Room, not always the easiest thing to do because, one, you don't get any extra force from them in the early stages of the game. And two, they go first. So they're going to get their activation total up as much as possible. Usually, you get one. I think we did the math, and it was like one out of every 7 games you won't get Boss Nash Chamber, the Jedi Council Chamber, or one of the pullers for it, assuming you're running like some combination of 3 and 2, I think. So you have 7 outs and an 8 card hand to hit one of them. And 1 out of 7 games is when you'll whiff and get throne roomed, as people like to refer to it. Um, but yeah, dark side, light side will get some of their activation total up. Usually 5, 6, 7, 8, possibly by the end of like turn two, their turn two. So dark side has to be a little more conservative with how quickly they want to get Vader to the ground. Usually they have to have the defensive interrupts with it, possibly multiple characters. You kind of have to go down kind of all in once. And then that's the other thing too is uh, this style of game typically is won by whoever digs into the battleground, the first big battleground, and wins like that first big battle. Vader goes down by himself. Dark side, light side comes over there down there with Luke and Obi and possibly somebody else, and whoever gets cleared and who lives and who hits their weapon swings, and then reinforces and kind of puts their stamp on it, like this site is mine. Um, that's usually the person who ends up winning the game because it's just too hard for the opponent, the other side, to then kind of come back over the top of that. And going off planet to a second battleground sometimes isn't always an option. Dark side puts their battleground down, light side goes to it, light side beats them up and takes the site. It's very hard for dark side to win that game. Um, if dark side holds that site and light side is like, oh man, this isn't going good, and they put their site out, then you can kind of get into a drain race thing a little bit, um, which is usually makes it a much closer game. It depends on if you who can disrupt the other one just long enough between the visage pings and some of the other stuff, direct damage from being hit by weapons and things, a dark time, that kind of stuff can be the deciding factors in a flip flop game like that, which may be what we have here. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how usually these matchups have to play out. So activation is key. I mean, activation is always key, but in this style of deck where they're both trying to kind of do the same thing, force choke your opponent, set up one big kind of battleground. Um, yeah, whoever kind of gets the activation going and gets themselves set up. So let's see, Pistone get a couple of docking bays. While he was in there, I'm sure he was counting what's in his force pile, seeing if he had any additional pullers. Cycle back some cards he doesn't need, like the under attack. Can come in handy against Blizzard 4, but not necessarily a must-have. Looking at the other cards in his hand, the only thing else he could have put back would have been the Luke's lightsaber, because he can just fish that out with like my father. But usually he'd want to piece that together at a better time. Ooh, Luke off the top, number 1. Like usually when you have Luke in hand and you're about to deploy him, you put the saber back the turn before, so you know it's going to be on the bottom, so it doesn't get shuffled around in your deck, and then you end up, next time you go pull a docking bay, you shuffle it around, and then you activate it. Darkseid getting an activate. Darkseid lost one of its docking bays off the top, but they do get Vane out, who basically activates the force every turn and essentially pays for himself right away. Also pulls the castle, which gets Darkseid some extra activation. And he's going to draw a couple cards. Pistone top decks a speak. That's going to one of the ones the cards he's been looking to 3PO for are the ones that he certainly has needed. The speak, the Luke. Those are the cards that are getting top deck to Visage. The cards that he's drawing instead are cards that he would rather be losing to Visage. He takes Anakin. Curious. We've covered this a few times. Anakin bad against Huntdown. I was a little surprised he didn't take Padme because Padme cancels Vader's game text. Um, but the flip side of Huntdown says while the side up opponent can initiate force drains or battles where they have a Jedi or Skywalker, of which Anakin qualifies. And looking at his hand right now, where he has no Jedi, um, Vader going ground, flipping the objective to the 7 side. Anakin does nothing. Anakin's a useless card. He can't battle anywhere, and can't force drain either. So a little curious that he would take him there. Now I think what he's going for here is going to be a Corran Horn Anakin to go kill Vane kind of thing. Um, he's just going to hope that his opponent doesn't get a battleground out to put Vader at, whether it's going to be a docking bay, which is most likely. Um, if he's playing IAO here, he probably has the docking bay, probably the Cloud City docking bay um, that Vader's going to end up at potentially this turn. And he draws a second Anakin, so now he's got 2 copies of a card he doesn't need. And he draws into his spaceships. Very unlikely that either of them is playing the system. Did you guys all just stop talking, or did my Twitch freeze up? Let me reload. Maybe I'm missing some insightful dialogue here in the chat. Let's go back and watch the replay later. Yep. So he finds the site. He deploys Vader using the castle. Vader does not get barriered. It's another interesting option there by Pistone. He could have barriered Vader to keep him over there at the 2-0, to keep him from moving to the battleground. And that's usually the problem. That's usually what light side is going to need its interrupts for, is when that jerk shows up. A Jedi's Concentration will probably be a very key card to look for here as well, because it stops lightsaber swings, and therefore then Dr. E doesn't do anything. Of course, there's always the possibility of an Odin-Nestler combo that just kind of negates Dr. E to begin with as well. But he still can't find a Luke or an Obi, so he's going to have to tunnel vision for one. He's going to take the Jedi Council Chamber instead, which is probably a better idea. And now he's going to deploy Rey. He's going to grab the battle plan shield to force him to pay for it. He gets the Jedi's Concentration. Yeah, he's just going to slow down here and play conservatively. By putting Rey to here, he set himself the opportunity to get the battle planes out next turn and then move her over to where he'll deploy a guy or two. He'll try and dig out a Luke, or maybe just pile up like a Leia and a Lando or something, and then move Rey over. With Dr. E already committed to the board, and both of them playing the anti-Ellis stuff, the fear of like a Darth Maul Dr. E beatdown is a lot less. No escapes to get the Darth Maul back. Light side is starting to fall behind here. So they do take a drain of 3. They lose a Clash, and they lose a second Luke and a backup Rey. Now Maul's coming down to basically just say, hey, that site's mine. This is what I was talking about. When one side really starts digging in, the other side has to find their battleground and kind of stamp their claim on it. And then you kind of get into that race situation, and it comes down to who can sort of disrupt the other one a little bit. But right now, Dark Side is got a decent head start. I got about an 8 card advantage between lost piles. This is going to be where they're going to try and make their move. Um, it's almost why it's like I like Vane because of the stuff he does, activating the force, getting this, but I end up feeling like if you're putting him down, you better have the Gick because 9 times out of 10, here comes Light Side Spy plus other big character, and it's like let's go cause some overflow to that guy. I almost feel like he ends up becoming a liability where you're like, I'd rather just let you deploy stuff there and cancel Visage, and then just play coward. What do you guys think? Vane more of a liability than he is a help? He's got 10 extra battle damage, so if he does not have the Gick, and he's already burned his no escape, he's going to be peeling 10 cards here. Okay, he does have the Gick, so he gets lucky there, but yeah, if he did not have that there, that would certainly have really been the swing that Pistone needed to even this game back up. Meanwhile, Dark Side will just keep chugging away with their drain of 3. And Light Side finally gets himself Luke. Looking at pile counts right now, it's at 34 for Dark Side. Plus 4 in hand is 38 to 24. 34 total for light side. So yeah, so it's not that. Dark side just has a few more effects and stuff on the table. He plays a point man, digs out whatever card he wants, picks up a few more cards. That is always the concern when your hand gets too low. We've talked about this a number of times on the show. Guys were just commenting on it again in the forums this weekend about one of the things that uh, I always say that has helped people become a better player is when you're a newer player. The tendency is just to just deploy something every turn as much as you can and to kind of, you know, play with all your cards. And then by like the turn 4 or so, your hand is down to like 4 or 5 cards, and then your opponent doesn't need to really respect that. Um, Respect that you have any counters or any answers for whatever it is that they're going to do. So then they just deploy a whole bunch of crap and kind of beat you up a little bit. I guess he wanted to double check to make sure the lightsaber was still in there. They did a quick revert. I'm not sure why there. Um, Maybe you should double check and make sure the lightsaber was still in there, which it is. So now we'll get Luke and a second character, probably Anakin, and then Rey will move over. Could be Padme. He may save Padme for backup. He could also solo here. Solo would be a good one because he's played a control tunnel vision, so he could then solo it out of the lost pile to cancel this drain to 3. That would buy him a turn. Plus Rey and Solo add a Destiny together. So that makes that even a little bit stronger because now you've got 16 power, 2 battle destiny. Luke adds 1 to each of them because of like my father, and Rey adds 1 to the total. So you're basically 2 destiny plus 3. So you're looking at 16. You assume in a deck like this, you're probably drawing a lot of 4s and 5s, right? Um, so you're probably hitting close to 30 with what's there right now. And he does do the control tunnel vision to cancel that drain. Lando's going to kind of be stuck over there for a little while. I don't know that there are any more battlegrounds left for either player. Yep, Jeff's just going to drain, get it canceled, then kind of reload his hand a little bit. There's the rescue in the clouds. Take the Jedi Lev back. Pay to drain with Luke. This is where light side starts to get back into the game, peeling 3 more cards from dark side. And he's just going to draw a few. He finds Jin, who could be very helpful. Again, not sure how long she would live. We did see a I'm sure there's a sniper, force lightning, or something. Anti-spy cards running about in the hunt down deck. Lando's just going to continue to hang out for a while. Save Padme in case he moves back, Vader over, and then, yeah, you're going to need Padme to clear Vader wherever he ends up going. Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily need Padme with Luke. This solo thing worked out very, very, very well. I think that's probably the ideal play, looking back on that situation. He's going to retrieve. Well, would you look at that? The downtown plaza says, once during each of your control phases, may use 1 force to retrieve a 1 Cloud City location. So he lost his 2-0 prison and to the light side's drain, and is now using the text to retrieve it. You can pull it with Sonic to take it back into hand, so you could kind of keep looping it around. The concern, of course, is going to be anytime you're retrieving a 0 back into your deck, you know you're going to end up drawing it for Destiny when you don't want to. Well, not that you ever really want to, unless you're playing Overload or something. But yeah, or yeah, Ellis, and you're trying to make it free. But if he continues to have other Sonics, he can just pull it right back, pitch it, retrieve it, and just kind of keep that going around. And there's an image of the Dark Lord, which will make that drain -1. So that should help Darkside continue with the drain race, because now they're draining for 3 to Lightside's 2 until Jin makes her appearance. Lose cards to get Lando back into your deck. At this point in time, I don't know that if you got Lando back, I don't know that you would necessarily do a whole lot with him. Well, looks like I think Lando's going to be fine over there for a while. So we're going to get Obi, who's got the lightsaber, so he can Jedi's concentration to kind of negate this other stuff. Padme is going to cancel Vader's game text and is going to add a Destiny to attrition when she's with a Skywalker, which is Leia, who we get. Leia's with an Imperial leader. She can add a Destiny to power or attrition as well. So we're going to get Battle Destiny, Destiny to attrition from Padme, Destiny to attrition from Leia, which should hopefully clear out at least 2 characters. And the magic number is 13. The magic number is 14 because Dr. E and Maul forfeit for 13. So if you could get the 14, they wouldn't cover it, and he would have to lose Vader as well. Maul is completely immune to attrition because of Phantom Menace. Excuse me. But depending on what's in his hand here, it may be more practical to lose Maul and keep Vader, and then put the 7 back where you can find it and do stuff with. He's going to burn Walkling. He's going to spend his last force to retrieve. Oh. Maybe we're going to get a revert. No revert. So I guess he forgot Secret Plans was out and just wasted his Walkling. We'll get the Destiny to Attrition being added. There's no I Have You Now available. We'll see if he's got one in his hand. Nope. No I Have You Now. And these should probably be like all 5s and 6s and stuff because he's been putting stuff back with 3PO for a while. Yep. So there's quite a bit of attrition there. So it looks like his only option is going to be to lose Vader and Dr. E, or lose everybody. That may be a mistake there. That is actually a mistake. We'll see if they revert that in the way they forfeit it. So Maul's completely immune to attrition. He has to lose 16 in attrition. Vader covers 8. Dr. E covers 6. Maul covers 7. So Vader plus Maul is 15, and his attrition total was 16, right? Yeah, 16 attrition. So we'll see if they fix that forfeit, because otherwise he's got to lose all 3 things. Whereas he could just lose Vader and Dr. E and keep Maul, and then Maul's right here in front of these 2 on his turn where he could then battle and clear them both. So that seemed like a bit of a mistake from Jeff there, unnecessarily losing Maul. Maybe he's got another Maul in hand and he wants to send Maul to go kill Luke, but you could have done that the following turn after kicking the crap out of Leia and Padme. Nope, he's just going to deploy another Maul from hand, who's going to get barriered. Okay, so that was a misplay by Jeff. Just miscounting or not remembering that Maul was completely immune to attrition from the Phantom Menace because he was with Obi. So that was a tiny little misstep there. Oh, but he's got a Kylo and a P-59. I think they're going to shoot some chicks in the face. Although this is, what, Mom and Grandma? Come on, Kylo. You got to be nice to your grandma. Yep, she's going to be hit and lose a force. P-59 will then take a shot at Leia, cause a little bit of force loss. Just think of how much worse this battle could be if Maul was included. He'd have 7 more power. Lightside would have no Hoojiks. Oh gosh. And a sniper. This would be ugly. Hey, Leia's daddy. Congrats on hitting your 3-month anniversary. And welcome back. Oh, he's got 2 Phantom Menaces floating around in there. Plenty of cards that can hit Leia for sure. Cause 2 more force loss. Leia, this is not going to make Leia forfeit 0, though. So you almost wonder if he kind of played this stuff out wrong again here, too. So she draws 1 if unable to otherwise. Padme draws either way because she's got 4 ability. So using the P59 hit, which does not make the character forfeit 0, using the Sniper Dark Strike on that character would have been the more ideal way to go, because either way, Padme forfeits for Padme's 3 power, uh, Leia's 3 power, but now Leia has her 6 forfeit, whereas Padme would not, being hit by the lightsaber. So could have just shot Leia, snipered her out, swung and hit Padme, and then it would be 10-3 with no forfeit, as opposed to 10-3 with 6 forfeit. So dark side, light side may not take much overflow here, is all I'm trying to say. They'll lose some force, they'll top deck some characters and stuff, but they just had a whole big pile of high destinies. That's what they drew for Destiny last turn, was like 655. Yeah. Dark side just draws a 3 here. So light side's going to get off the hook without any real extra battle damage, because this should be a 6. Yeah, so that's going to get rid of Kylo. And because Leia still has her forfeit, they won't take any overflow or peel any additional cards. Whereas if Maul was here, this would be game over. It would be 17-3, and Leia would be hit and forfeit 0 without a Hoojix in hand. It'd be good game. Thanks for playing. Best of luck in your remaining games. So. Yeah, I'm just saying he could have done it in a different order. Obviously, he wanted to get rid of one of the characters immediately with the sniper. He could have just shot a P59 first, hit Leia, got rid of her, then Padme's no longer with the Skywalker to add the Destiny to attrition anyway. So, just the order of operations there. But Jyn, as the undercover spy, is going to grind things right back down for Darkseid. They had their big opportunity at some battle damage, didn't really get it. Now their drain potential has been reduced. They already burned a sniper. A lot of hunt downs are playing 2 of them these days. Whether or not there's another card, whether it's an Ice Heart, an Emperor, and a Force Lightning, or maybe like an Utak Uta or something, or Krennic, Director Orson Krennic, who basically says, while during a control phase with an undercover spy, opponent loses 2 force, which can't be reduced. So instead of paying 3 to drain for 2 now, he's just going to do Krennic for 2 and doesn't have to pay for it. He still gets the same 2 force loss, so that works out. It's actually better for Darkseid because they don't have to end up paying 3 for the drain damage. He's going to put a Luke back. We could see potentially break her cover, drop Qui-Gon. Maybe not this turn. He's got high destiny sitting right there, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him go for that. Because he's with Maul, he's going to draw 2 battle destiny, so he would draw them both. Yep. He'll cancel that. P59 can still take a shot. There were those 2 Phantom Menaces floating around in his deck. I don't know if they're still around. I wasn't paying attention to see what he just started peeling. Yeah, he's going to draw the 2 Battle Destiny, which will keep him from taking any overflow, because it's going to get him to 17, and then Qui-Gon forfeits for 7, so that's 24. Darkseid would have to draw 10, which they can't do with just 1 Destiny. 6 is pretty good, but not going to be good enough. So they've got 11, which is going to be Maul and P59, and that leaves Krennic by himself to at least cause the damage. And then Jeff's got to find somebody else to come down with. Maybe he was worried it wouldn't hit. Yeah, obviously, not sure what your destinies are. I mean, he could have checked. I don't think anything. I think everything in there was 3 or higher when he eventually ended up looking. I think everything in there was 3 or higher, so that could have certainly played out differently. But again, even just not losing Maul the turn before would have been a big difference there too. All right, so now you've got Vader going bold. Weapon Lev stealing Luke's lightsaber. Look at that. And then I have you now to add the extra battle destinies. Now that the Hear Me Baby is gone. That's a crazy turn by Jeff. And he still swings at Luke. Interesting. Well, he's going to hit him because Vader is Lord Vader, who adds 1 to each anyway. And Luke's only defense value 6. He'll cause 1 force loss for that. I don't think I don't know if he looked and saw what his destinies and stuff were. But he certainly had the potential there to just, pick off Rey and then draw 3 battle destiny and clear the other guys. But kind of a late play, a little bit of a slow roll there by Jeff. Certainly caught Pistone off guard a little bit with the weapon Lev. Wow. If he had checked his destinies and saw those in there, he definitely should have swung at somebody other than Luke. But in this case, it's going to work out perfectly because if he hits Luke, now he's got 8 for a total, and both of them forfeit for 7, so they're both going to die. So everybody dies. The site completely clears. Darkseid has some overflow to deal with though, so I don't know if they have a second Gick. Otherwise, they're peeling 5 cards. But they'll take Luke's lightsaber with them to their loss pile. But I think that's probably got to be the 3rd or 4th Luke. That Pistone has already had hit his loss pile, so he's only got the 1 card in hand, which, as we can see, is Anakin. Not much else he can have going on there. But fortunately, with Vader gone, the objective's on the 0 side. So his only move might be break, cover, deploy Anakin, battle. If this is a 6, with Anakin adding 1, making it a 7, it'll clear both guys. And that seems like that's what he's going to do here. And then he'll probably lose Jin. He'll get to verify the 3 cards in Jeff's hands. Yeah, there's the fly casual again. Yeah, so usually how these games play out, you've got some back and forth battling, but, unfortunately, as we know, all right, so he's got Emperor and Tarkin and another copy of Visage in his hand. Okay. But yeah, as we know from the earlier battle, obviously Jeff should have won this game already, but unfortunately had that little misstep that ended up costing him. So now we're going to have, at best, oh, he's got 1 more Luke left. At best, Darkseid could come down with Tarkin, and Tarkin, if he sets up the right destiny, could kill Anakin. What did he just draw? He drew a 4, right? The imbalance combo. Anakin's only immune to less than 4, so Tarkin could come down and clear him. But it looks like he is not going to take that line. He's going to send Tarkin over here with the Emperor. And I guess just try and outpace his opponent. So we're looking at, in terms of card counts, 10, 13 to 13. So they're tied. He can pay 3 to drain. They can both continue to keep paying to drain for about 2 or 3 more turns. Oh, Jesus, what's he playing? Like 6 Lukes in this deck? It wouldn't surprise me. Takes the concentration, even though he has no more guys with lightsabers left. Weren't a lot of good options in there anyway, though. All he's got left is an Emperor's Shuttle. Keep activating. Did he find that last Vader? Because that's what Jeff needs right now. He puts Vader down, it stops Anakin from being able to drain, and he would still win this game. It looks like we're just into the pay to drain section here. Since they had the same card totals, I would think Lightside would end up winning this because they're going to get Darkside down to the point sooner. He pays to drain again. I guess he either doesn't have Vader or doesn't want to stop paying to drain. If Jeff does have a Vader, obviously deploying it would be the right move because it flips the objective and stops Anakin. It's worth giving up your 2 to stop their 2. But where we're at right now, Pistone is just slightly ahead, and since they started out at even, I believe Pistone is going to end up winning the drain race, just narrowly. Darkside has Vane. One last ditch character, tracked 4, good enough to kill Anakin. He's good for 10. That's a 5. That would become a 6. So it'll be 11 to 10. Darkside will peel a card. So they lose Vane plus 1 force for losing the battle damage, which is the same 2 that Darkside would have drained them for. But if Pistone doesn't have any more characters left, well then obviously this is how Jeff wins. But as we can see, he does. He spends 6, he puts Luke down, and that's going to do it. Pull simple tricks to stop him from retrieving. Yep. So from where we're at here, Jeff drains, pays the drain for 2. He loses the 2 cards in hand. Lightside pays the drain for 2, takes Jeff down to 3. They pay to drain with their last ditch, which takes him down from 6 to 4. He pays to drain, taking him down from 3 to 1, and then Darkside can't afford to pay to drain anymore, and ends up losing the game the following turn. So, very close game, and the minor little misstep by Jeff, which I've talked about 2 or 3 times now. I don't mean to keep beating on him. But yeah, the thing with the mall obviously would have been the difference maker and would have kind of run away the game with for him. Um, but otherwise, yeah, in a pretty close game, back and forth, lots of interactive battles, which is kind of what you expect from two ground heavy decks. Certainly some good tracking by by both players, utilizing all of their resources to find ways to win and continue to push the pressure back on their opponent to do something different. So thank you, Mike Pistone, for sending me the game link. It was certainly an interesting approach, and we got to see a hunt down and a throne room matchup finally in full in completion. Um, yeah. Oh, looks like Angela's playing another game. Old Allies against Monchenko's map. Did he win that first game? I'm assuming he won that first game. We'll just go check. Yep, he won the first game. That was his first game of the month. So, but all right. So that's gonna wrap it up for tonight's show. Kind of ending on a dud with a just a drain race scenario there. Um, but that'll wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about some more stuff. Hopefully, have some wrap up the June OCS. I won't have those foils yet, but I should have the list out from everyone who participated in the online play weekend. Get those foils, slide them into the envelopes I have already set up for a lot of people with their OCS stuff. People ask when are the OCS foils coming out. Now that we have 4 months completed, slap the online play in there, send out a nice package to everybody kind of at the midway point of the OCS, and get all those foils out so everybody can start playing with them for the rest of the summer. And then, probably June and July's will be handed out to people who are in Minnesota for Continentals. Um, and then we're at Worlds in September. And after that, they will be mailed following the World Championships, the final 3 months. So I will see you guys back here next Monday. Thanks again for watching and subscribing and renewing your subscriptions to the PC channel. Same bat time, same bat channel.